sound off with me, folks, on the Boston Celtics grabbing Milwaukee's offense by the throat and squeezing the life out of it over the final 6 minutes of this game. This was a great basketball game, a playoff-type basketball game that everyone in the crowd, in the arena, everyone was feeling it. This felt like it easily could have been in May or June. But it was in December, in early December, and it was a great game that all came down to the final 6 minutes of the game, and only one team that was on the court was ready for that clutch performance. And as we all know, that is the defending champion, Boston Celtics. The Celtics defense was absolutely incredible during the final 6 minutes of this game. And when I say incredible, just wait until you hear these numbers. They held the Milwaukee Bucks to 1 for 13 shooting over the final 6+ minutes of this game. Milwaukee only scored 6 points over the final 6+ minutes of this game. And 4 of those points were from the free throw line. So I'm going to repeat those numbers just to reiterate how dominant Boston's defense was. Over the final 6+ minutes of this game, the Boston Celtics limited the Milwaukee Bucks to 1 for 13 shooting from the field. The Bucks only scored 6 points over those final 6+ minutes, and 4 of those 6 points were from the free throw line. The only basket that Milwaukee scored was Dame Lillard's driving layup. That's it over the final 6+ minutes. So yet again, Boston's defense grabbed a hold of Milwaukee's offense by the throat and squeezed the life out of it over the final 6 minutes of this game. That's how Boston won. It also did it by making the clutch shots at the other end of the court. And it certainly wasn't hurt by Jayson Tatum dominating in his own right on offense during the fourth quarter. Tatum wound up scoring 14 points during the fourth quarter. He really took over the game in the middle stretch. Actually scored 7 points over a course of only 34 seconds, I believe it was at one point. He made a 3. Milwaukee missed. Boston came down, got the ball to Tatum, and he had an and one 3-pointer. So 7 points in only 34 seconds. And again, winds up scoring 14 in the fourth quarter, all on its own. He finished this game with a game-high 34 points, and he also grabbed 10 rebounds. So a nice double-double out of him during this win. Also dished out 5 assists during this game. But yet again, I got to remind everyone that this one came down to the final minutes. As we said, it was the final 6 minutes, but really it did come down to the final 1 or 2 minutes. This is the definition of a clutch basketball game. It was a one-possession game for the final few minutes, and it was only one team that was ready to make the plays. And specifically, in one matchup, that's what turned the game. Okay, so tonight, Al Horford, and we're going to talk about him more during this episode, but Al Horford, he matched Giannis Antetokounmpo's minutes to the second during this game. Anytime Giannis was on the floor, Al Horford was on the floor. Anytime Giannis was off the floor, Al Horford was resting. And that meant that Al Horford had to play the first 12 minutes of this game. It's the first time all season long that Horford played the entire first quarter. But the real key to this game came down into the final 2 minutes. Milwaukee, down by 1, had possession coming up court in transition, and for some reason, Giannis Antetokounmpo thought that it was the perfect time for him to pull up in transition and take his one and only 3-point shot of the game. This was with less than 2 minutes remaining. Why? I don't know why you would take that shot, but the Boston Celtics certainly were totally okay with it, and certainly they were after they found out what the result was. It was a miss, as many would have expected in that moment from a guy who's not known as a 3-point shooter, a guy who hadn't attempted a 3 all night long. Giannis misses, and then seconds later, Al Horford catches a pass in transition on the right wing. He takes a 3-pointer and splashes it home. Doesn't even touch the rim. Splashes the 3 home to push Boston ahead by 4 with about 1:20 remaining, and that was when Boston had total control of this game. The arena went crazy. The Celtics bench went crazy. Everyone knew that was the moment of the game. And it all started with Giannis pulling up for three in transition, for some reason, missing it, and then Horford saying, "You tried to do that? No, that's what I do as a big man. I make big three-pointers." And that's exactly what he did to push Boston ahead by 4, like I said, with about 1:20 remaining, and the Celtics never trailed from that moment on. So just an excellent performance out of Tatum during the fourth quarter, and an excellent performance all night long out of Al Horford, literally matching Giannis Antetokounmpo second for second in this game. He's their answer for Giannis. And that's not to say he stopped Giannis, because Giannis finished this game with 30 points and 11 rebounds in a double-double and shot 52% from the field. But you don't stop a guy of that level. All you can hope is to make life difficult on him, and that's what Horford did during this game. One other guy that we just absolutely have to talk about during this game is Jrue Holiday. He has had a rough stretch over the last couple weeks on offense, but tonight, not so much. He got back on track, and this seems to be a trend for Jrue Holiday, because now his 2 highest scoring games of the season have come against his former team, the Milwaukee Bucks. And he has said time and time again, "Now, I don't get up for these games any more than I get up for the next." We'll see how it goes tomorrow night against the Memphis Grizzlies. But tonight he was up, and he wound up scoring 20 points, shot 7 of 14 from the field, made 4 3-pointers. That's the most threes he's made in at least 2 or 3 weeks, and scored one of the most critical baskets of the game, which we'll talk about in a second. But 20 points tonight, and is the only time he scored more points than that in the entire season was back on October 28th, when the Celtics also hosted the Bucks at TD Garden. That's when he scored 21. So 21 back in October, another 20 tonight, and clutch shots down the stretch. Jrue Holiday actually scored as many points during the final 6+ minutes as the entire Bucks team. He scored 6, and 2 of them were super clutch. It came with about 25 seconds left, caught the ball on the wing, pump fake, drove to the basket, tossed up a floater right at the end of the shot clock, nothing but net, and that is the one that actually definitely sealed the game for the Boston Celtics. I believe it pushed them up by 5 or 6. I can look that up right now. Pushed them up by 5 with 25 seconds left. So, the numbers game comes into it right there, and you just know that the Celtics are going to finish that off. But again, Jrue Holiday with 20 points in this game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, also grabbed a steal, blocked a shot. This was the quintessential Jrue Holiday game, and he did it yet again against his former teammates, the guys that he helped to win a championship with just a few seasons ago. Well, now he's the only 2-time champ that was on that court tonight, and he showed it with his clutch play down the stretch. Again, he scored as many points during the final 6+ minutes as Milwaukee's entire team. So just an outstanding performance from Jrue. Great to see him get back on track, and hopefully we see that continue on Saturday night against Memphis. All right, let's dive in and take some comments from our fans. First up, we've got the Saurus on where this win stacks up for the Celtics this season. We'll have to wait what they have and see what they have to say. Next up, we've got Xavier J. Thomas on Deuce's big birthday gift. And then lastly, we've got John Rubin on this little something that the Celtics now have that's called championship DNA. All right, let's roll. All right, first up, the Saurus says, loved this win given the brutal stretch of shooting threes and the way Milwaukee and Portis owned the glass. Incredible fourth quarter from Jayson Tatum. Al's playmaking in the second half was awesome, and always enjoy Jrue cooking the Bucks. All right, so a lot to get to here. Let's start out and just go one by one here. Love this win after the brutal stretch of threes. Yeah, it was a brutal stretch of threes pretty much all night for the Celtics. They only shot 32% from three-point range. And let me remind you, we haven't even mentioned this. We're getting to it now with the shooting, but the Celtics won this game while shooting 32% from the field and missing Kristaps Porzingis. The Bucks completely healthy. Chris Middleton back tonight. Now, he's not where he's going to be a couple months down the road after he gets his rhythm back, but they were fully healthy. The Celtics were not. They were missing one of their top players, their top rim protector, and then they only shot 32% from long distance and still won this game. But there was a stretch of this game where Boston just could not put the ball in the ocean. It just wasn't happening. I think after 3 quarters, yeah, they were shooting 29% from three-point range. That's about as bad as it gets for a team that is this high of a caliber of a shooting team from top to bottom. And yet somehow the Celtics navigated that. They figured it out. They stayed close. And I looked to some of the reporters next to me during this game, and I was saying, man, it's tough sledding right now if you're the Bucks. You're playing pretty well. The Celtics are only shooting 20-something% from 3, and you're only up by like 2-4 points. It was a little too close for comfort. I'm pretty sure they all felt that way as well. But the Celtics still managed to win this game despite not shooting it well from long distance. Now, Milwaukee and particularly Bobby Portis were dominant on the glass. He had 18 rebounds tonight in this game, 13 in his first 11 minutes. So he was dominant, 7 offensive rebounds, 11 defensive rebounds, 18 for a game high in the game. And Milwaukee out-rebounded Boston by 10. Now, part of that is because Boston shot the ball poorly, but Portis was dominant. Giannis Antetokounmpo grabbed an offensive rebound. That was a big one late in the game. Brook Lopez had a few of them. So they really did crash the glass, particularly offensively, but it wound up not mattering. The Celtics still figured out a way to get this done, and that's a big deal because the Celtics took 7 fewer shots than the Bucks because of that rebounding deficit that the Celtics had tonight. Yet again, the Celtics win a game when they take fewer shots. That's a tough trend to continue. Joe Mazzulla is certainly going to preach, guys, we got to win that shot differential on a nightly basis. We can't continue to try to back ourselves in a corner and try to win when we're taking fewer shots than the opponent. Not a great time tonight, at least for the Celtics from a shooting perspective in terms of the numbers, and it all came down to that dominant rebounding night that the Bucks and particularly Bobby Portis had. Incredible fourth from JT. As we said, he took over 14 points during the fourth. That one stretch where he scored 7 in 34 seconds was awesome. Got the crowd into it, got his teammates into it, and then they wound up closing it out during the final minutes when Tatum made a few plays of his own during that fourth quarter. Al's playmaking in the second half was awesome. Yes, he actually started to read the defense. They were closing out on him when he caught the ball on the perimeter. He would just throw a pump fake and take it off the dribble. That is not something we've seen a whole lot this season out of Al Horford. He's just been letting it fly from long distance, but he saw that they were closing out on him, and then he started attacking, getting the defense in a bind, getting them in a rotation, and being able to make plays for others, either by an assist or by a hockey assist. So great job by him being able to read the defense, and he did finish up with a few assists during this game. The last part of this comment is always love seeing Jrue cook the Bucks. It's nice. This is a trend. Jrue gets up against his former team. He may not think it, but the numbers certainly show it. His 2 highest scoring games of the season have come against that team, and tonight he made multiple clutch plays down the stretch, offensively, defensively. Like, he's a big part of the Celtics holding Milwaukee only 1 for 13 shooting during those final 6 minutes. So great job by him. Great job by the team. We just highlighted a bunch of guys right there. Everyone had to play well to be able to win this game while the Celtics were without KP and while they were not shooting the ball well from long range. All right, next comment coming in from Xavier J. Thomas saying Tatum fourth quarter takeover on Deuce's birthday was perfect. And yes, it was. And let me throw one more other awesome element in here about birthdays on this day. Not only was it Deuce's birthday, but it was also Giannis's birthday. And I thought we already talked about that 3-point miss in transition that Giannis had. And I just thought it was a great moment to think about what was going on within about 5 or 10 feet of space. Giannis fired up that 3-pointer from the left wing, almost right in front of Deuce. Okay, so 2 birthday people have an opportunity there to enjoy themselves. Giannis missed, and that wound up leading to Deuce being able to celebrate his birthday at a high level. If Milwaukee made that shot and if Giannis made that 3-pointer, that might have changed the game. There's no question about it. They would have been up by 2. Boston might have called for a timeout. You never know what's going to happen. But both of them in that very moment, separated by about 5 or 10 feet, had an opportunity of what was going to happen in that moment. Who was really going to be able to celebrate this game? Giannis missed, and it allowed Deuce to celebrate with the win. And a big reason why is because Big Deuce took over during the fourth quarter. As I said, 14 points during the fourth quarter alone. He wound up shooting a perfect 5 of 5 from the field, 2 of 2 from distance. Again, I said he had that stretch of 34 seconds where he scored 7 points. That was because of his 2 of 2 3-point shooting during the fourth. So just a great game by Jayson. And he wasn't playing at a super high level in terms of finishing and scoring at the basket, scoring from distance all night long. But he was able to navigate those tough stretches and come out on the other side and really play well when the game was on the line and when his team needed him most. So that was great to see out of him. And I'm pretty sure Deuce is going home, having himself some ice cream and cake tonight when he gets home. It's a celebration for him. Daddy delivered a win. What a great day for the Tatums heading back home tonight. All right, our last comment of the night coming in from John Rubin. And John says, just a different Celtics team. They can close games out and are mentally tough. No matter the challenge, whoever is out of the lineup or has an off night, they don't cave. Championship DNA. And that last part is what we got to concentrate on here. This Celtics team now has that. It's in them. Okay, that's a part of them. They have championship DNA. They've done it. They've gotten to the mountaintop. Those tight moments when the game is within a couple of points during the final minutes, they've been there. They've come out on top when literally everything was on the line. So they have that experience to now lean on. And they might not mentally think about it actively during the game, a conscious thought. But it's in the back of their minds. That experience is subconscious that can play a role in being able to execute down the stretch and make big plays when you need to make them. And again, that can happen on offense or on defense. And by the way, we've got to talk about the Bucks have that too, but it's different. They've lost some pieces from their championship team. They're not the same team anymore. So do they have some championship experience? Yes. But this entire Celtics team has championship experience. Literally top to bottom, with the exception of the rookie, Baylor Shireman. Everyone has championship DNA. So they leaned on that tonight and they got it done. And again, as John says, it's just a different Celtics team. You trust them in these tight games. That was not the case a couple seasons ago. Now you trust them. You just have this feeling that they're going to figure it out one way or another. And we saw that happen yet again tonight. And by the way, as John mentions in here, no matter the challenge, whoever is out of the lineup or has an off night, both of those things happened tonight. As we talked about, Kristaps Porzingis did not play in this game, and Derek White had his worst game of the entire season. Not on defense. He got it done on defense, which you got to commend him for that because he didn't have it going at the other end of the court. But defensively, he got it done during that fourth quarter along with his teammates. But Derek White scored 6 points, 1 of 10 shooting, 0 for from long distance, 0 for 8. So the Celtics were missing one starter in Kristaps Porzingis, and then they were missing another starter on offense, essentially, in Derek White because he just wasn't there offensively, didn't provide a whole lot. He did have a team-high 7 assists, so that's great, but the shooting just wasn't there. But yet, the Celtics still find a way to win. So again, it's just leaning on that championship DNA. That is who they are. That is what they now have built inside of them. That is a part of them forever, and that's something that all of these guys will be able to lean on not only this season, but really for the rest of their career. So great to see it come forward yet again tonight and help the Celtics win a clutch game, and now they're 19-4 on the season. Pretty darn impressive start. They are ahead of last year's pace despite not being healthy, fully healthy, for more than a couple of games this season. So the Celtics are somehow now 4-1 in this stretch of 6 games in 9 days. If they somehow win their next game, which is tomorrow night against the Memphis Grizzlies, I mean, you want to talk about a very, incredibly impressive stretch. If you can win 5 out of 6 in this stretch, and the only loss coming by 4 points to the top team in the league on the road, my goodness. But that's what the Celtics have set themselves up to possibly do tomorrow night. They've got Ja Morant. They've got Marcus Smart. He's finally going to play back here at TD Garden. Jaren Jackson. They've got all of these guys coming in. The Grizzlies are playing well. They look like the team from a couple years ago. All right, so keep your eyes peeled for what this game is going to bring to the table tomorrow night. 2 of the top teams in the league, and it's Boston's opportunity to close out this stretch of 6 games in 9 days, possibly with an improbable 5-1 record. All right, that's a wrap for tonight. Great win by the Boston Celtics after a great basketball game. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. It was a playoff-type game. The physicality, the emotion, everything was there. Now we got to wait and see what the Boston Celtics can bring to the table tomorrow night as they play for the second time in 2 days. And by the way, Kristaps Porzingis should be back for that game. So tune in after that game. Please check me out on X and send in your response after the game. I want to hear what you're thinking, what you're feeling, all of your thoughts after that game. Send them in. I'm going to pick a few, and we'll have them in our next episode of Sound Off. That comes tomorrow night. But for now, enjoy your Saturday, and we'll see you Saturday night after the Celtics and Grizzlies tip off the TD Garden.